and 10 remains under the water level. So 10%, you can see the 10% and the 90%. 10% stays above and 90% stays under the water. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Now, let's say with our own human personality. What the Bible teaches about us is pretty much the same. 10% of our personality is above. That means you can see me, right? I see you and you see me. What we see on the outside is the 10%. The way you smile, the way you talk, the way you dress, the way you relate with others, the way you get angry. All these are only 10%. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Now, you are seeing only 10% of who I am, and I'm seeing only 10% of who you are. You know, we can say this 10% is above that line, the water level. 10% is our ego self. We all have our ego, right? We all have our ego. This 10% is what we show to the outside world, what people see in us, what people think about us. That is this 10%. Now, what exactly is our ego? I have 3 things mentioned there. What determines our ego? What you do is part of your ego. What you have is part of your ego. And what other people think about you and what other people say about you is also part of your ego. So now tell me, do you know what your ego is? Your ego self? Your ego self is a combination of 3 things. What you do, what you have, and what other people think about you and say about you. Now when we read the Bible, the Gospel of Luke, chapter 4, we read about the 3 temptations of Jesus. You remember what are the 3 temptations of Jesus? Luke chapter 4 speaks about 3 temptations. What was the first temptation? Anybody? What was the first temptation of Jesus? The devil came up to Jesus and said, if you are the Son of God, what? Change these stones into bread. Praise the Lord. You know, just before the temptation of Jesus, what happened? Jesus was baptized in the river Jordan. It was immediately after baptism, Jesus was tempted. At the time of baptism, there was a voice from heaven that said, anybody remembers what was the voice from heaven that said, this is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. So the sacrament of baptism tells us or gives us our true identity. What is your true identity and what is my true identity? The new identity that we received at the time of baptism. What is that identity? That you are a beloved child of God. And I am a beloved child of God. So immediately after baptism, Jesus was tempted. What was the first temptation? If you are the Son of God, do this. So the first temptation is about what you do. Jesus had to change the stones into bread to prove that he was the Son of God. Now, did Jesus do that? He did not. Jesus refused to do that. Because Jesus knew even if he did not change the stones into bread, he still was the Son of God. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. So our ego, your ego and my ego will tell you and me, if you do this, if you do that, I will accept you. You are great, you are this, you are that. Doing is not, doing is important. Doing is mighty important. But doing is not everything. What you are is more important than what you do, according to Jesus. Jesus said, I am the beloved Son of God. Whether I change these stones into bread or not, still I am the Son of God. So I want all of us to understand. Ego wants us to do something and prove that I'm so and so. But Jesus said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to obey my ego and prove myself. Instead, I'm going to be what God wants me to be. So the first temptation for you and for me today is to do and do and do so many things and then prove that we are somebody. And that's what happens to many of us today. You know, when we look at our lives, people don't have much time for God today. People don't have much time to go to church anymore. They are doing and doing and doing things in order to prove what they are, in order to show what they are. Now the Bible tells us this is a big temptation for us, for you and for me. The more we prove ourselves based on our doing, we are being tempted. You know, the second temptation of Jesus was, the devil took Jesus and he said, you can have all these kingdoms. You can have all these if you worship me. Having is another temptation. I know. Are you satisfied with what you have? Are you content with what you have? You know, we think more about what we don't have, and we think less about what we have. Praise the Lord. And that's why many people are upset and worried, because we are all the time thinking about what others have and what I don't have. How do you feel when you are thinking about what others have and what you don't have? You feel sad and depressed. So the devil came to Jesus and said, you can have all these. But Jesus said, having is not more important to me. I'm not going to worship you. I'm going to worship God, my Father. And the third temptation for Jesus, what others think about you, what others say about you. The devil took Jesus to the peak of the temple and he said, can you jump down from the peak of this temple? People will see you, people will think about you, and they will say, you are the Superman. Now, Superman can jump from any height. And Jesus said, I'm not going to do that. Who I am is not based on what other people think about me. Now, let me conclude. Our ego, your ego and my ego, what is the ego looking for? Ego is looking for always doing and having and making other people say big things about us. That's what pleases our ego. That's the 10% of our personality. Now, we have the 90% of our true self. Can you read that 90%? What does that say? The 90%. The true self. Okay. What does that true self say? What I am, my communion with God, my belongingness to God. The truth about you, the truth about me, Jesus is teaching us what is the truth about you and the truth about me. Is what you do is the truth about you?